Okay, right. So yesterday we completed about the factors which lead to growth of Indian national movement in India. And next, uh, another two concepts we'll discuss today. The one is English education, how it lead to the reform the Indian society through formation of socio-religious reform movements. And next one is the foundation of Indian National Congress and the moderate era and extremist era. Okay, so in our last class, we discussed the various factors which uh, which boost the Indian society towards the fight towards the colonial government. So among them, various factors we discussed. Okay, within that factors, we discussed about the English education within the Western education, how the English education mobilized the Indian society. Okay, so English is a medium of instruction which um, uh, which implemented from the 1835 onwards officially by the William Bentinck, and later which widely used in widely used officially and also by the people in the society. Okay, so the English education which attracted the each and everyone in the Indian society, because in Indian society at that time you find a traditional form of education pattern uh, uh, you aware. Okay, so the traditional form of education not providing such a platform to know the each and everything which happened at that time in the world. Okay, so English is a language which like a bridge between the Indians and other parts of the world, so that the by knowing the English they can aware that the things which are happening at the world at the time. Okay, so this is the main cause how the English spread in Indian society. Okay, so the implementation of English education, many it takes many years to implement in English education officially in the in Indian departments, various departments. Okay, so among them, this English education which brought many changes in the Indian society, and um, uh, particularly particularly um, about various rights, civil and various rights, and many many mobilization which awareness among the Indians also brought by the English education. Okay, so this by knowing the English education, all the society gradually they are aware about various social levels which they are following from the following since the decades. Okay, so they are gradually uh, uh, they are losing, or they are not following um, those rituals and traditions which they are following since the decades. Okay, so for this uh, introduction of English education, having the various steps. Among the first step, which is started in 1813, according to 1813 Charter Act. Okay, so at that time, the John Shore, a director, one of the director among East India Company, sorry, Governor General at that time, and Charles Grant, one of the a member in the one of the director in the East India Company directory. So he and along with the William Force, Henry Thornton, they are encouraged the development of English education in India. Okay, so according to this act, 1813 Charter Act, the East India Company also allocated the 1 lakh rupee to development of the spread of English education in India. Okay, so at the same time, the Christian missionaries also done their effort to mobilize the Indian society along society with the introduction of English, and by establishing of the various educational institutions, and within the educational institutions they are following only the English as medium of instruction, so that the many sections of Indian society they are aware with this English education along with the basic needs which provided by the Christian missionaries. Okay, so this is the Charter Act of 1813 is the first stepping stone to development of English education in India. Okay, so after that, the Erlap Moira report, which is submitted in 1815 during the Governor Generalship of Jan Shaw. Where Erlap Moira. Yeah, Erlap Moira report 1815. Okay, so according to the Erlap Moira, Erlap Moira is a person who was a member of Governor General Council. Okay, so according to his report, many educational institutions at rural was started. Okay, so every headquarter at a district at that time. Okay, so those establishment of a school at each and every district headquarter has to be started according to this Erlap Moira report, and they also established a educational institution for the Muslims also at the same center called as at the headquarter of the district. Okay, so it means what a educational institute for Hindus and also Muslims in the place of madrasas also started in rural areas. Okay, so this is a starting point by which English education also reached to the rural society at that time. Okay, so after the William Bentinck attained the Governor Generalship in 1828. So he was a great a supporter of English literature, also one of the person who introduced English as who spread English in Indian society basically. Okay, so in 1829, General Committee of Public Instruction, which is a committee which is at Britain. For this, Macaulay, who wrote a letter to this committee to be compulsorily implement in the English as a medium of instruction in India. Okay, so according to this a letter, on the basis of the letter by the Lord Macaulay, so Sir William Bentinck, who introduced or made English as a medium of instruction officially from 1835. Okay, so these are the two important events how the English implemented in India officially. Okay, so in between the 1835 and 38, nearly 40 new schools are new English medium English teaching schools established in Indian territories. And in 1838, officially made that the English as a medium of instruction at the uh, uh, at the courts also. Okay, so up to 1838, Parsi is a official language at these courts. In the place of Parsi, the English made the medium of instruction at the courts. Okay, civil and criminal courts. Okay, so in 1854, uh, there is another committee which submitted its report. You are well aware that the Charles Woods Dispatch in 1854, which we call as the Magna Carta in Indian education. Okay, so according to uh, Charles Woods Dispatch 18, 1854. Okay, so according to Charles Wood Dispatch, which we call as Magna Carta of Indian education. So according to this, every state at that time, state in the sense every provinces, okay, British province, they have to establish a department of education, and a a a well educated personality be the head of that department. Okay, he will head that department, and each department established at each and every province of the British India. Okay, so and according to the Charles Wood Dispatch, and the British government also decide to establish at least three universities for the at the level of higher education, and that university should be like a University of London. Okay, so um, uh, uh, like according to the Charles Wood Dispatch, there are three universities have established. The one is at Bombay, one is at Calcutta, and one is at Madras. Three universities are established. And according to Charles Wood Dispatch, there is another teacher training college also established. And according to this teacher training college, they will train the teachers to teach at various schools, particularly the schools which is established for the Hindus, and the schools established for the Muslims. Okay, in the place of madrasas, the British Indian government gradually started a modern schools to educate the Muslims also. Okay, so the according to 1854, the Woods Dispatch, the education for women also encouraged. Okay, so and also according to this dispatch committee, also encourage certain private schools who supports the English education. Okay, so which is brought many changes in the field of education in India. So after this, Sir William Hunter Commission, which is submitted its report in 1880. So during which is report the report is submitted during the period of Lord Ripon. Okay, so we already discussed about Ripon yesterday. Okay, Ripon was a Indian friendly Governor General. Okay, he supported Indians publicly, right? So, according to this Sir William Hunter Commission in 1880, uh, this this committee suggested that there is no interference of government in this education field, so it should be a independent one. Okay, so the education department of education or the Ministry of the Education should take their decision own, not depend on the government. Okay, so and the private educational institutions also encouraged according to this, and the establishment of educational institution, particularly the Swadeshi educational institutions, also encouraged. And there are another important thing from this Hunter Commission that there should be provide scholarships for the people who are going for the higher education. Okay, so and also one more decision which is taken from the Hunter Commission that according to this commission, they gradually decrease the European employees or European officials in the education department and gradually increase the appointment of Indians at the post. Okay, so this is also important commission, and also according to this commission, which encourage the spread of English education in India. Okay, so apart from that, there is another important event taken place during the governor generalship of Lord Curzon, which is taken place in 1904. So in 1904, he appointed, he brought Indian Universities Act. So according to this Indian Universities Act, he uh, uh, he encouraged the establishment of universities in India. And apart from these three already established universities, they also encouraged establishment of another two universities also. And according to the uh, 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 Thomas Raleigh University Commission, which is submitted this report in 1902. So according to this report, along with the establishment of universities, have to support or the or establish the technical institutions in Indian territories. Okay, so in the technical, not only technical institutions, but also establishment of certain institutions which are give which gives support to the development of agriculture. Okay, so and according to these commissions or reports, the English education started in India officially and gradually, which brought many changes in the Indian society. Okay, so you are aware that by following the English education, all this Indian society, which is gradually aware, and within the Indian society, many changes has taken place. Okay, so apart from the existing communities and caste and communities, classes and communities, and many new new communities or classes have started. Okay, so within the newly emerged classes, you are well aware that the middle class is one of them. Okay, so from the middle class, many intellectuals has emerged, and those intellectuals which started the various socio-religious organizations to eradicate the social civils which existed in Indian society and to modernize the society. And they also encouraged these Indian people towards the racialistic ideas. Okay, so before going to the establishment of socio-religious organizations or movements, I will give how, and what are the various newly emerged sections or the classes have started. Okay, so within these, the middle class is one, and another one is the trading class already existed. And trading class, in the sense, already there is a class is nothing but within the Indian traditional society is the Vaishya. Okay, so Vaishya is a trading class or the merchant class, but apart from this